is MC for a new tutorial about InControl. InControl is one of my mods which allows you to control spawns among other things for mobs, but it's a bit complicated, and it's on my Discord. I get lots and lots of questions, and always the same questions, indicating a lack of fundamental understanding, which is of course to be expected. It's not easy, I admit that, but it's powerful, and that's the reason why it's not easy. So in this tutorial I will try to answer most of the questions and point you to some useful resources to help you with this mod. First, a few resources. On my wiki, which you can find here, there's mod documentations, control mods, and here you find the main page for my InControl mod. This tutorial will go mainly over these three versions and not the 1.12 version, because there actually already is a tutorial for that version. Let me show you that one, hold on. So that's this tutorial, which is valid for 1.12. I will put a link to that in the description of this video, but that's why this tutorial will not go over 1.12, but the more modern versions. Besides, always look at these warnings on the wiki. Here you see potential spawn is only for 1.12. On 1.16 or higher you use spawner, and that's also another warning. Yeah, first let's focus on the 1.20 version. That's this page. The main difference between 1.20 and the older versions is, you can find that here as I actually, hold on. Difference between 1.20 and older, and this is the when keyword. This replaces the onJoin keyword from 1.19 and earlier. Also special JSON has been removed, yeah, and onJoin has been removed, so that's the main difference. Also something, let's go over this, because these are common questions, and there really are common questions. They get asked all the time, and always I say, look at the frequently asked questions. It's there. So the first question, how can I add spawns using spawn.json? You can't. That's literally what it says here. Spawn.json can only be used to restrict spawns or to alter spawns, but you can't add spawns. For adding spawns or increasing spawn rate, you need to use spawner.json. So this is an important question. It gets asked all the time. Okay. Yeah, this is another question. Sometimes a certain mob doesn't correctly fire the right events for spawning, and then you need to use when onJoin in your rule, or if you are on 1.19, onJoin true. I will give you examples of that later. I added a rule to spawn.json. This is actually related to this one, to allow a mod to spawn, but nothing is happening. That's because allow is standard. As soon as Minecraft starts to spawn a mob, it will automatically be allowed to spawn. Otherwise it wouldn't get that far. So it's not useful to only have allow rules in there, because nothing will happen then. So that's why you can use allow, but it has to be in combination with deny, and we'll show that later also. Summon and spawn eggs are not a good way to test if InControl works, so don't use those. And yeah, this is a special question because it gets asked so much. I think everyone is really wanting to make a zombie apocalypse. Yeah, it's actually the same as this one, but it's because it's asked so much, it gets its special treatment. Another important thing, by the way, there is a table of context here, table of contents, I mean, so you can quickly navigate. But another important section are the comments. You don't have to exit the game every time you change something in the rule files. You can just type /InControl reload and the new rule files will be used. Using kill, you can kill all hostile passives or entities. You can show all the entities that can be used. And this is special debugging mode. That's a bit more complicated to use, but it allows you to try to find what's wrong. This is also important, this comment, because InControl has a few options so that you can, for example, make zombies stronger after the 10th day. But to count days, InControl uses its own counter, which you can control with this comment. Now some terminology. There are rule files. Every file in the config is called a rule file, and it's called a rule file because it's a collection of rules. And what are rules? Every rule is a kind of a statement that controls what should happen. And I will give examples of this later. Actually, let me give an example here. So you can go to the examples section here. Let's go to spawn examples. This is a good one. Let's go over this one. So this example allows only spawns in plains biomes. All other spawns are prevented. So first, there are two rules. This one and this one. Rules are put in a list. So this is JSON. This indicates that there's a list. It's a list of rules. Okay. And here you see we allowed a spawn to happen in plains biome, and if it's not a plains biome, we deny it. That's because rules are executed from top to bottom. So whenever a mob spawns, it will go over all these rules one by one. The first rule that matches is executed. So that's why we need two rules, because allow is default. So we allow on the plains biome, and then we deny everywhere else. Okay. Here another example. Again, we have a list of rules. We have 3 rules. The first one, second one, and the final one. So for creepers and skeletons, we use the default spawning rules. Passive is also default, but all the rest is denied. Okay. Last example for spawn JSON. Actually, no. Last example. All hostile mobs above 50 are denied. Below 50, we only allow spawns to happen on stone and cobblestone, and otherwise we deny. So that's how it works. Always read from top to bottom, one rule at a time, check all the conditions, and the result of that rule will be applied. So in this section here in the beginning, we go over all the rule files that there are. And this is also very important. This section is really important, and let's actually open the 1.19 version of that. Yeah. This is actually a bit less explained. how to explain it? There are, in addition to the ordering of the rules, there are actually 4 different possibilities. And this is controlled using the when keyword. So the position, so if you use when position, this is used to check if a mod is allowed to spawn in general. And this is also the default. If you don't specify when, then it will be position. This is similar, but it's not actually explained here. Oh yeah, this is similar to using onJoin false. That's equivalent to the position check. OnJoin is afterwards. So first Minecraft calls position, then it calls onJoin, and that's similar to on 1.19 and older onJoin true. And in 1.20 you would use when in combination with onJoin. And then there's the final step, finalize, and that's equivalent to using a special JSON on 1.19, but that has been removed. It's no longer there. And that's the final step in spawning mob. And in this phase, you can add things like armor and set attributes and so on. And in all these 3 steps, you can cancel the spawn, by the way. Despawn is special. It's not related to spawning, but it's called whenever a mob is about to despawn. This has no equivalent in 1.19 or older. That's new in 1.20. So some additional notes about spawn JSON. Each rule as a result can be allow, default, or deny. Deny is simply cancelling the spawn. That will happen in all 3 cases. The difference between allow and default is that with default, some simple vanilla spawn restrictions, like not spawn inside the block, are still tested. So default is what you actually should use mostly. Allow is a bit allows some, bypasses some restrictions that a mob might have. Yeah, if when is equal to finalize, so this is something that's not the case for 1.19. The difference between default and allow is that default will still let the vanilla finalize operations do its job. For example, skeletons will still get their bow. If you use allow, then only your own actions will be executed. So that's important. One other final thing, and this is also true for 1.19 and older, each rule can have a continue keyword. That special keyword makes it so that when the rule succeeds, it will not stop. Normally, let's go back to the examples. If you have multiple rules, as soon as one rule succeeds, it will no longer execute the other rules. It will stop there, and that's the result. However, here's an example where you give armor and attributes, and for example, in this example, we give skeletons and zombies a helmet if they spawn when the sky is visible, and we also give them more health. Note that we use finalize here. On 1.19 you would have to put this in special.json. If you would to use continue true in this rule, then this would not stop. It will actually go further and do other things here as well. So that's important. Okay, a few important warnings. Rules are executed in order per category. So that means for every spawn that happens, every rule category is evaluated from top to bottom. So first all position rules are executed, then all onJoin rules, and then all finalize rules. Same is true on 1.19, except that that's only for unjoin false and unjoin true. So all rules with no unjoin will happen first, followed by all rules that have unjoin true. Okay. Yeah, so that's also important. As I said before, in this example here, if one rule succeeds, it will stop execution. That doesn't, if, for example, in this case, a creeper spawns, this rule will succeed. So these two will not be evaluated, but what if there was an unjoin rule here? Then that unjoin rule would still be executed because it's in another phase. Okay. Some modded mobs don't do the proper events in all case, so sometimes you have to use unjoin true or on the unjoin category to get the desired effect. So every rule has three parts. There are conditions, actions, and sometimes extra stuff. For example, the continue keyword is in the extra category, and the when keyword as well. Let's go back to the examples. So in this example, this is a condition, this is a result, condition, result, or action. For example, here, these are conditions, this is extra, this is an action. These are all actions because they do something on the mob. Right? Okay. Let's actually try something. For example, let's say we want to make mobs, zombies stronger after a certain days have passed. So what do we first after 5, let's call it after 5. Okay, so phases.json is special. It allows you to name certain conditions. If you would go to the wiki and go to phases, phase system here. So these are the conditions that you can use. It's actually just not min day count, okay? And you can give them a name, and it's easier to use that way. Also, I actually need to do it like this. Okay. This is an example. Okay. So after day 5, and let's also add a condition after day 10. Okay. So let's copy an example of something in spawner so that I don't have to type it all. Basic example. Let's copy this. Let's use zombie, not in water. I recommend not deleting anything here. Just use the water. Just to change the values because it's dangerous to depend on the defaults. So we put this here. That means that this rule will only be active after day 5, after this phase is correct. Every 2 seconds, so 1/2 times per second is every 2 seconds, we will try to spawn a group of minimum 2, maximum 5, 3 from each other. We will try this 20 times. That doesn't mean that we will spawn 20 groups. We will just attempt to find a good spot 20 times. Increasing this will improve the chances of a successful spawn, but it will also have a potential bad effect on performance. So be careful with this. This controls the speed. So that's basically how you do this. We only want this to the spawn to happen in the overworld. We want that's the distance from the player. Let's say 20, 50, minimum height, and maximum 100. After day 10, we actually want that's for here. So that after 5 is no longer true. We want after 10 to be true. So we will spawn bigger groups and closer to the player. Alright, now let's add some rules to spawn. Zombie base after 5. When finalize, because I want to make them stronger. Result default. Let's check examples. That's also is easier. Yeah, let's make them. Okay. And after day 10. And we also want to give them. Actually, we want to do that here as well. But here we give a chance. Let's here give a diamond helmet. By the way, notice if you have multiples of something, you need also the list notation. So, okay. Yeah, that's good enough. Alright, let's try this. So I can just InControl reload. They are fine. InControl days. Current day is 2, so we shouldn't see anything special. Just normal normal zombie spawns. Let's see if we can find a zombie. Also, yeah, difficulty is normal. Always make sure that you don't test in peaceful, of course. Where are the zombies? There's a zombie. Well, actually, I'm in a desert. I want to be able to go back here, so that's. Actually, I will only get zombies, strays, because I'm in a wasteland profile with one of my other mods. But that's fine. Let's just set days to 7. And now we should see zombies appear. These are just normal zombies, apparently. Let's see if the rules work. Yeah, that's an example. A golden helmet. And he is stronger too. And probably faster. Yeah, that was pretty fast. Gold and iron helmet. So the rule is working. Let's set days to 13 and go further. More villagers. Yeah, I only controlled zombies. Let's find one. Yeah. Okay, those are iron. Yeah, that's still normal. Let's go here. Okay, so apparently the rule isn't working correctly because it's still using gold and iron. Let's find out what's wrong. After 5. Oh yeah, of course. This is wrong. It should be like this. Yeah. And now we can. Okay, let's reload. And now it should work correctly. Yeah. Ooh, he is really fast. Okay. Let's also. So these happen in finalize. Just to illustrate something, say we add another rule for skeletons. We simply want to deny them when on join result deny. So this rule is actually whenever mob spawn, I put it here, but you should probably put it over there because it executed first before these other two. Because it's in the on join phase. This is how that would look in 1.19 or earlier. Just so you note. And these two rules should go to special.json in 1.19. Keep that in mind. Another important thing, I reloaded rules. This doesn't automatically remove skeletons. Just so happens that they're not, yeah, because of course this only affects when new skeletons spawn. So what I usually do is kill all hostiles. Yeah, and then the zombies start spawning again. Creepers, no, that's not a creeper, just zombies. Creepers will still spawn, but skeletons should no longer spawn. Okay. So yeah, that's basically how this works. So the phase system works, spawner works. Phases is nothing special as such. I could just as well have included all these conditions here, but it's much easier and nicer to specify it in a separate file. Oh yeah, what we also want to do, yeah, actually, no, it's okay, it's fine, it's good so. So yeah, I hope this makes things clear. Ah yeah, what I forgot to tell you. There's a new tool actually on the site. This is important, which is the control validator. So first you specify your version 1.20 and say what did we, that's spawn.json. You paste that here, you say validate, and it will see if it's correct. Let's make some errors in it, like that and like that. Okay, so there's 3 errors here. So rule 1, expected position on join finalize despawn, and this is what we got. Rule 2 has no result, and rule 3, yeah, skeleton is not invalid not a valid Minecraft ID. So you can also validate spawner. This is correct. And faces. So this is an important new tool that allows you to check if your JSON is correct. For example, a common error. This is also a common error. Let's fix. This looks correct, but it's actually not, because it's trying to put stuff in one rule. And here it says, yeah, we still need to fix this, that it says line numbers, but basically it complains that that face is duplicated. So you get an error. So remember this tool, this is very important. But basically this concludes the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have further questions, there's only one place, that's my Discord. I will also put a link to that in the description of this video. So see you next time. Bye bye.